this is Isabel. So in today's video, I want to inform you about references. This is a huge part of the application in Switzerland. It's also part of reassuring during the process that they're making the right decision. Remember that in Switzerland, especially, everything that can reassure, build trust and all these things is going to be important. So when you're looking for a job in Switzerland, you want to make sure that you have these references with you. So that's a huge part of selection. So that's my first tip, is make sure you have those 3 references. Again, now with digital, a lot of it can be done via LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be a piece of paper as in the old days, an actual letter on paper. It can be a LinkedIn recommendation or anything like this. Probably it's easier also for you to get it digitally. But just remember that you need those 3 references, and you need to have the contact details of these individuals so that the companies can reach out to them. So that's number 1. Number 2 is always look at references a little bit broader than just a manager. Typically when we think references, we think manager, and it's great. I think it's a good thing to have a reference, especially from the last manager. But sometimes for whatever reason, it's not ideal. And the reason would be maybe you had a bad relationship with this manager. Maybe there was a hiccup, or this person actually is not going to sell you very well, for whatever reason. Again, maybe they're not very good communicators, or maybe they don't like to give references. So you want to assess, when you think about those 3 references, whether you can trust the people that you will give as references. So it's not something that you should do lightly. You should really think, is this person really going to talk well about me? If you're already question mark it, it's not a good sign. You should be really sure that this person is on, selling you and your best representative. So that's really important. So when I look at references, I look at it from a 360. Of course, you have the boss, but it could be a colleague. It could be someone in another company that you worked with a lot. Or if you're a consultant, it could be a client or a service provider or freelancer you worked with as a partner. So anyone that had contacts with you on a regular basis that can really showcase you and talk about you. So I think especially depending on the job that you're looking for, the type of contacts will vary. So if you're looking for an assistant job where you're working for one manager, of course, having the opinion of a manager you worked with is important. But if you're a freelancer, for example, and now you're looking for a job, obviously you won't have a boss to talk about you, but you can have clients. So that's just an example. It could be your last clients. What did they think about the work you provided, or someone you worked with more as a peer-to-peer? So think a little bit about what you do as a job. Who could be a good reference for you? Are they reachable? And would they represent you well? Because again, you will be linked up psychologically for the Swiss. They will link you up with your references. So if those references say bad things about you, which have had happen, in recruitment, where we had feedback that was negative from the references and probably the employee didn't know. So just be careful, just don't give out the name of the person if you're not sure, and look in your background, who would be great people to represent you, to be a reference for you. And number 3, put the list together very nicely, bundled up for the recruiter. So when you're going through the interview process, there's nothing worse than being scattered. Again, it's also to reassure during the process. You want to show you have your documents in line, that your references are prepared, all in one nice list, and the recruiter doesn't have to look for the information and look at the person on LinkedIn, figure out their number, their email. This is all waste of time. It sounds very basic, but when you're dealing with a big amount of work, anything that can really ease your pain in terms of the process is going to help. So think about it as, what can I do to help the recruiter do their job? And that starts from the time you apply. So when you're sending a resume out, for example, do you have all your information on it, very easily reachable? Do you have your work permit status or your nationality if you don't have a work permit, so that the recruiter can assess whether they can get you a permit or not? So all these things will really help putting you in the right pile, getting you interviewed, and then getting you hired. So it's an administrative process in the end. So just keep that in mind, make the recruiter's job easy, and then you have more chances to be included in the process the longer as possible. So when other candidates might waste the recruiter's time, you want to show you're efficient, you have all your information in order, you know where you're going, and you're able to provide it very quickly. So I hope this interview was helpful. Feel free to comment, and I will talk to you soon.